I think we're live.
Well, hey.
Hi, Not So Tender Podcast, episode number 37. What a weird number.
I know.
3 to the 7. On a blistery, hot, sunny day here in the Midwest. Such a beautiful day. We go outside. It's so inspiring for possible serial killing in London. It feels like London outside today.
Yeah.
We are not in London. Kelly, how was
What?
your week?
Good.
Week 2 of season 3.
Very busy.
Super busy.
Super
Homecoming
busy.
week.
Homecoming week over here. So momming has been busy.
Did you go to homecoming?
No.
No. You know better than even ask me.
No.
No, I did
I went
not.
like freshman, sophomore year. Like when I was new to high school, I went, and then that kind of faded. Once I had prom as a junior and senior, I didn't go to homecoming anymore.
Did you go to it with your friends or a boy?
Both. Well, mixed. Like
That's
sometimes
very progressive for the time, Kelly.
we had at my school we had fall homecoming and then winter homecoming and prom, and I was in choir, so we had like a choir dance. There
Jesus.
was like 4 opportunities, so that's sometimes I went with friends, sometimes I went with a boy, usually a boy friend though.
Your son just went to homecoming.
He did.
Did he have to do the whole fancy way of asking a lady?
No, so I asked. He just paired up, like a friend of his was going with this girl, and then he just ended up going with one of her friends. And so I asked him, I was like, do we have to do the fancy? He was like, no. Making a poster? No.
What's the
I'm not
deal with
doing
that?
that.
Just one more thing that a guy has to do.
It's so much anxiety on them to like come up with this thing.
Can
and
I ask
then,
a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
As a man,
Mm-hmm.
have you guys just gotten bored with what you have us do anyways? Do you have to make new things for us as teenagers?
I was like, are you asking me as a man? Or are
I'm
you
just
asking
saying
me
a
as
general question.
girl?
I mean, it gets kind of crazy. Like you have to have somebody film it. You have to have somebody
It's a
like an
proposal.
engagement. Like
Yes.
like a proposal.
Right, yeah.
I feel sorry for young men who have to do proposals.
Absolutely.
You have to have a videographer, a lighting director, a set.
A whole thing. No, I think what probably happened is some young man crushed it being in a relationship and taking the
Being
extra
clever.
initiative. Yes. And trying this. And then that kind of set the standard.
Oh,
And now it's gone a little extreme where my son, who is not dating anybody, but yet has a female date.
he's not going to go to that.
No, he was like, I'm not making a poster. No, a cookie, baking a cake. No, mom. I'm
So
not
let me
doing
get this right. So because somebody saw something on film and was like, I expect that now.
Yes.
So could young men do the same thing with adult films?
With adult women. Hey, I saw this movie this one time where she cooks dinner all the time.
Right.
You
Picks me
should
up
do
from
that
school.
now. Right. Yeah.
Does my homework.
Right.
No. So that seems a little bit.
It is.
It is a beautiful thing, though, if you're enjoying it. It
yeah,
seems
if
very high
it's
stress. But it just sets you up for a
organic that they
wedding.
want to, like.
But it sets you up for a wedding. Just a bunch
Yeah.
of hoopla for
I know.
nothing.
No, that's
Right?
true. That's true.
I mean, honestly.
That's the standard from a very young age.
Hey, let's go to a place we don't really want to be so we can leave and go somewhere we want to go and eat fucking garbage food.
That's true.
Fact.
Yes, I've never had anybody say it like that.
I mean,
We'll invite all of our friends and family to this big fancy dinner, and then 2 hours later, go to a bar.
yeah, 100%. Or act like this is a bar.
Yeah.
Act like this shitty barn is a bar.
Uh-huh.
Act like this pole barn with a concrete floor
Yeah.
is a bar. I get it. We're just showing off. Just new boot goofing. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah.
How's
So
your-
my kids have been kidding.
Yeah.
My clients are clienting.
They're kidding, too.
They're kidding too. I've been swamped. Just every single available appointment I have is filled.
I had a client come in yesterday, a new client, and he's Puerto Rican.
Mhm.
And really nice young man. Raises his 8-year-old son by himself since he was 8 months old.
Okay.
Like,
Doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
yeah. And you could tell, like, he's just like, I just love my son so much, you know, horrible accent.
I was like,
But,
is that an accent that you
I
just
watched
tried
a lot
to
of I
do?
Love Lucy. It's Ricky Ricardo. Every accent is Ricky Ricardo, even if you're
Southern,
Russian.
Jamaican,
It doesn't matter.
Russian,
Sopranos.
English. Right.
Doesn't matter. Ricky Ricardo. And he says, how come you don't post more stuff? I was like, I don't care. He's like, "You have a show." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What is this?" I was like, and then he goes, "What do you think the biggest problem in relationships are?" I was like, "Oh shit. I'm glad I'm gonna be
Oh,
tattooing you for 3 hours. Like we can get into
we
it."
got a minute.
Yeah, it was interesting for sure. But his love for his child was really, really cool. And his perception of his mother and his grandmother
Mm,
was really
mm-hmm.
cool, and how he
Mm-hmm.
respects them. He says his stepdad is really cool. He's like, he loves my mama, and my mama loves him. He works second shift, and she stays up until he gets home, and dinner, and like even late,
Yeah,
second
yeah,
shift. And
right.
they enjoy, he goes, they talk and they laugh. And I thought that was super sweet. I found that very interesting
Hmm.
for sure. Um, Holidays are coming. Can you feel it? Are
Uh-huh.
they starting to dip their toes into it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So many people, either uh, couples, the couple dynamic with in-laws or soon-to-be's or whatever,
Yeah.
that role comes up a lot with individuals on my caseload that have significant others, even though I'm only seeing one half of that.
Yeah.
It comes up. Couples, that's all we're talking about right now.
Already.
Oh yeah.
It's not even October.
No, so it comes up because a lot of them summer is ending.
Yeah.
So they just went on vacation with their in-laws, or they were supposed to, or there was drama on Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July. Like something has happened. And there's usually one of the two, if not both, are like, hey, we need to talk about this before November.
And the other one's
'Cause
like,
it's fine. This is how they always are. That's what it's always somebody has an issue and the other one is practicing like radical acceptance, right? That it just
well, it's been their family.
it is
I mean,
what
you're
it
not
is.
changing
And
your dad or your
but
mama,
like
right?
right, they're assholes or
Yeah.
they're sweethearts, but they mean well and
Don't
like
let them
yeah,
drink.
right. Right. We'll head out early.
That's hard.
Mhm.
It's really hard. I had a client, and we were talking about what we were talking about on the show last week about people not wanting people to come when you're at your house unannounced or come,
Mhm.
all this stuff. And she was talking about her parents, and I know her parents. So this is the craziest dynamic of the whole thing. Like
Mhm.
I've watched these kids grow up
Mhm.
and talking about his parents, and both the kids are starting to put on some decent boundaries because they're trying to stop some generational shit.
Good.
And but it's not easy because
No.
they,
No, because they don't understand.
no. And it was funny because she's going to get married, and they were talking, and she was talking about it, and she was like, "Yeah, my fiance says, I don't want your parents coming over unless I know they're coming over because I need to prepare for it." And I started looking at her, and I go, "Prepare for what?" And she goes, "Well, I mean, they shouldn't just drop over." I said, "Do you go to their house?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Do you go to their house with him?" And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "So I believe in yin yang. It has to exist on both sides, or it's not real in the
Right.
universe. It's fact. It's not real. If it only exists on one side, it is not real, or it's wrong.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Theory.
So
Okay.
that lens, go ahead.
So I go, you can go to their house. I go, if they ever came in your house and like pissed on your couch or like lit something on fire or like acted like tore up your fucking, and they go, well, no. And I go, so make me understand. I'm trying to
Right,
understand
help
this
me. Right, yeah.
because how's that fair? You can go to their home
Mm,
because you can leave. Well, you can also go ask them to leave.
that's fair.
You know what I mean? And she
Yeah.
just went like this. That's interesting. I said, have they ever done anything bad at your house?
Mm,
Usually people are on better behavior when they're not comfortable in their own home.
yeah.
Because I'm going to be a lot more brazen in my home than I would be in
Right.
yours.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just leave your house,
Sure.
but I'm
Just
not telling you to fucking kick rocks and you can knock that shit off in your
right.
own home.
Right.
So it's almost, it would be safer to kind of host.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. So I see this a lot where usually by the time it comes up in session, they're not going to their in-laws either. Like there is a cultural relational dynamic, right? That has gotten super prickly. Everybody's aware of it. Nobody wants to talk about it. And usually the person who is bringing it up does want to talk about it.
Yeah, they want to work through it.
They want to work through it. They don't want super rigid boundaries where we don't see your parents. That's not their goal.
Because they probably have decent parents.
Yeah.
Or they have horrible parents and they wish
They
that they
want,
could have that.
right. And so that's something that we talk about a lot in
Yeah.
session is nobody, I have yet, I guess I should say, to come into contact with an individual who wasn't hopeful about the parents they were inheriting. Like they were excited about the opportunity to gain an additional support system. Nobody goes into marriage being like, I don't want any more in-laws. I don't want another family.
I just want you.
I just want you. And like, that's just not,
It's not fun.
it doesn't happen a lot. So,
And I'm assuming if they're in therapy, they're not that closed off or rigid about certain things.
no, they're usually pretty open. Usually it comes up where the in-laws come to their house and do break boundaries, whether it's, as we've talked about, like critiquing or like offering help, even if it's genuinely just an offer, somebody gets offended or
Yeah.
they make a comment about like, oh, the lasagna is a little dry. Did you use, like just making conversations, but people are like, that's rude. Don't.
Is it rude? If
Sometimes.
they have the information to make it better? If the table was wobbly and I grabbed something to put something under the leg to make it not wobble while I'm sitting there eating, am I being rude because I'm putting down your table? Some people might feel that
Yeah,
way.
maybe. And I feel like it.
If they're like this, slamming it off the table, it's like, what is this slop you have presented to me?
Right.
Are we a little too sensitive about
well,
that kind of stuff?
I think the
I'm asking.
parent-child relationship is so delicate. The reason I'm open to my mother's feedback and could just kick it back to her is because I've known her for 38 years.
Right.
My mother-in-law I've known for 4. So for her to come in and offer assistance feels
Can I ask a question,
unwarranted
though?
or like, I don't know you. Like there's.
But why would you treat it any different? If you step back and really look at it, why would you talk to her any differently than you'd speak to your own mother? Because you know her better? Well, I'm going to assume you're speaking to your mother in a kind way, even if even if you're hitting it back to her. You're just going, hey, we don't. What are you doing?
Stop it.
Okay,
Eat it or don't.
And or bring your own food.
Right, yeah, pick up Subway on your way home if you don't. I
have never been picky about food when I'm going to someone else's house. Not to be an asshole.
Sure.
If I'm showing up at your house, I'm so thankful that you're cooking for me.
Well, absolutely.
And if I don't like it, guess what? I'll push her on my plate and go, yeah, I don't like it.
Right.
That's okay.
Well, one, I don't care.
I can stop it.
Usually,
Taco
if
Bell
somebody
on the way
comes
home.
to my house and they're not eating, I will usually ask if you don't like
Is everything okay?
Does it need something like,
yeah,
we have salt, pepper, garlic, whatever, ketchup.
Other food.
Ketchup makes everything better.
Other food. Yeah. Seriously.
Do you want pizza rolls? I can make some pizza rolls.
Why do we think it's so like life? Like we're doing the Olympics. Like there's 4 people sitting in front of you with scorecards.
Right.
I mean, honestly.
No, that's fair. And I think my mom, on a rare occasion, would pop over unannounced. Just because I was raised that's rude. Like you at least give somebody a heads up or text them or check in or something.
I've been asking that question a lot. Why it's such a big deal for people.
What do people say? They're unprepared, I guarantee.
Well, they can't even give me a real answer. I said, how can you be so upset about something you can't give me a real answer about?
Oh, well, maybe I'm just unprepared.
I don't.
If I'm in the middle of cooking and my kitchen is a disaster, I'm folding clothes.
Who cares? They'll help you. If somebody loves you, they'll help you or they won't mind it.
Yeah.
If they're coming to see you, it's usually not to persecute you.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm sorry. It's just not. And if they do, go, hey, why do you want to come over here and be a dick? Like, why you drove over here to be a dick? You could just call me. Send me a text. Email. I mean, honestly, singing telegram. You don't even, like, if I can imagine that if you're that unhappy with the way I do things, why did you drive? Like, I have a hard time believing people are that malicious. Are they?
They can be.
And I also know that I carry myself in a way that most people would never talk to me that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to take that with a grain of salt too. So I understand that. But if you really feel like you're allowed to look at them and go, hey, is this what we're going to do forever? Because I just need to understand. Is this just your thing?
Yeah, I've had that conversation with my mother-in-law.
If you're just cranky.
We're better now.
Okay.
Because I was like, hey, I don't like how this is going to you. And she was like, no. And I was like, okay, then let's fix it.
Yeah, we can be buddies.
Because I don't want to,
And I understand that people have a hard time stepping up to their own parent.
Yeah.
But if it's not your parent, like, I guess some people have a hard time talking to people like that.
Oh, yeah. Communication skills are hard.
You don't have to be mean. But if somebody's coming into your home and being cranky every time, just pull them aside and go, are you okay? Because, like, what's going on here? Is this what we do? Because, like, is my house making you uncomfortable? Because me personally, I would try to make it better because
Well, sure.
I'd want you to be more comfortable.
Well, and I guess that would be my thing is if we have 5 children and a bunch of pets. So like my house is
It's a lot. Yeah.
So if you just walk into my house, you might catch it on a chaotic moment. It's not for everybody.
But
We're
Kelly,
used to it. But that's the conversation I had. If you're just going to pop in, I can't be held responsible for your stress level when you walk into my house and unannounced.
can I ask
where I
a
didn't know.
question? Why do people think that people that are way older than you, 20 to 30 years to 40 years older than you, can't handle anything? Do you think that they were just safely set into this world at 65 and have never experienced anyone telling them to shut the fuck up or be quiet or you're in my house?
Well, Thomas, they complain. And like this is personal experiences, but this is a lot of clinical experience is people come to your home where you have multiple children, multiple pets in between things, right? And they're like, this seems like a bad time. This is a lot. This is loud. Or like, where do you want me to sit? Or like your dogs keep jumping on me. Like they physically or verbally express discontent, right?
Right.
So now, especially if unannounced, I'm dropping what I'm doing to cater to your needs. And that was not on my agenda. That I think is valid.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's different. Because if somebody isn't making themselves useful, when I asked that older lady that was in her, like, I think she was almost 70. She might have been in her 70s. And I asked her, when did that stop? She goes, if I was painting, people would just stop and help me. They would, if they stop over, they would just go, you need some help? I'm putting clothes away. They're like, let me fold these. What? They would just.
That's not normal.
It was in my house because if my aunt stopped by or my grandma stopped by, that's just what they did.
That's not what
So
most
that's
people
probably
do.
why I felt,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's what we would do.
No, that's not what most people
Like if I
do.
showed up at your house and you were doing something or you had something pulled apart, I'd just be there like helping you doing it.
Right.
Or I'd just be sitting there drinking coffee.
To you, I would be like, so you can either help me or you can have a seat and talk to me, but I got to keep keep moving.
I understand it because I was raised that way.
Right. Yeah. Other people are not that way.
But maybe just take a moment and don't get freaked out about it. But I've noticed that people are so, and it has to be a control thing. It has to be a power thing. That people are like, I don't want you there. I shouldn't have to do this or I shouldn't have to. And I'm like, why?
I think it's a combination of lack of control because you didn't have any say in them coming and fear of judgment. It's that like caught off guard of like, well, if I knew you were coming, I could have done whatever it is. But now you're just here.
I love
now.
As humans, we want to control everything that we shouldn't worry about. And then the things we actually control, we kind of blow off.
Or we screw up.
You know what I mean?
Things that we had
like the things you should probably worry about, you could probably make your life a little bit easier.
Right.
But the fact that somebody shows up for your kids thing and you're like, they didn't say they were coming. It's like, you'd be pissed if they didn't go. So you can't make some people happy, right?
Absolutely.
But communicate with them, especially if they're not your parents. Because guess what? They're not going to write you out of the will.
No. And so many times I'm like, guys, we have to address this. And it often is something that doesn't need addressed right now. And that's why people kind of kick it downfield is they're like, well, I'm not going to see them again until Thanksgiving.
Well, that's too late.
I'm not going to see them until Christmas.
No,
and I'm
talk
like,
to them before.
Yeah, but it's October.
But you should talk to them when it's not elevated.
We should probably address it. And that's why in some cases I'm bringing it up now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we still have 2 months.
It is weird if you approach somebody and say, hey, am I doing something that's upsetting you? Because when you come over, like you seem like you're in a bad mood. Is it there too much? Like just, if you come at it with a point, like, is there something some people go, I shouldn't have to say it like that. I'm like, well, then don't let them in your house and don't go to their house. Guess what? There's certain things I don't do and I'm not going to do. Right. I'm unapologetic about it. I don't care. But I'm not sitting there acting like a victim. Like, I can't believe I have to. You don't have, you're grown.
No. And I had the opposite where my mother-in-law was asking my husband if something was off. And then he was asking me and I was like, oh, let's just nip that now. I'll just call her. And he was like,
right.
Don't call her.
Well,
I was like, why? Why not?
She's a grown woman.
Right. She's grown. I'm grown.
And you're not going to be mean.
I can answer. No, I'm not going to be mean.
And even if you are going to be mean, pull that fucking Band-Aid off.
Right.
I'd
rather just have the conversation. He was like, no,
Hey.
I wanted to talk to you. And then I would talk to her. And I was like, oh, that's asinine to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that at all.
That won't get lost in translation.
I'd much rather just have the, slightly uncomfortable conversation.
Speaking of slightly uncomfortable situations and
Mhm.
conversations, we're going to talk about our subject today.
Oh no, it's very uncomfortable. Guys, be prepared. I don't know why I anticipate that you're going to be elevated about this. Maybe you're not.
No, I'm trying to understand it. And my idea of it is a little different. So today we're going to talk about overlapping and overlapping in relationships and how we don't talk about it much. We try to
brush it under the rug as much as possible.
very much, or we try to hate the person before so much that we'll move on quicker, which was never the case. It's actually worse because I think being hateful about somebody are stronger feelings than actually just loving and accepting them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
Okay.
You have to put a lot of effort into hating somebody, I feel like.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It's not. It's to me more intense than love because love is peaceful.
Yeah. Should be easy.
It kind of is.
Mhm.
You know, if you're not just
If you're not a jerk.
well,
It should
if you're
come
honest
a little bit more
about it,
natural.
if you're truly honest about it. But
No, I've never naturally hated somebody.
Oh, I have.
I have not.
You've never played in a band.
No, I have naturally loved people and I've naturally disliked people. Like they're just not my people.
I'm joking. I don't naturally
But yeah,
hate unless
naturally
you're
just like organically hating somebody is not.
No, unless you're like a, raper or, creeper. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm like, all right, I hate that person.
Right.
All right.
Overlappers.
Let's hear about it.
So we'll start with the definition because this is something that you sent to me. So an overlapper, which might seem obvious, but I did look just to make sure that
it's not as simple as what you think.
So it is by definition a person who has not yet ended their current relationship but starts engaging with a new person.
Bring that back burner to the front burner.
New person, old person, but there's engagement on more than one front, right?
Yeah.
I'm not out of this relationship, but I'm going to entertain or pursue or engage, right? Like there's some sort of secondary relationship, which we've talked a lot about infidelity. So the way that you engage and the level of the relationship could vary.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. If you're an overlapper, you know it. Like that
you're throwing rocks at somebody's window.
Absolutely.
Or letting them throw them into yours.
Sure. Batting your eyes when they throw rocks your way, right? Like
oh my God, did you drop that rock?
Oh.
How'd that get in here?
Here, I'll give it for you.
How'd that get in my pants?
Right. So we went ahead and I made it a document. So I have reasons for overlapping.
Yeah.
Red flags for the people that are engaging in these overlappers, because I think that's something that comes up a lot in my caseload.
Really?
Overlapping comes up a lot in my caseload.
But it's never defined as overlapping, is it?
No.
Look at us.
But I have people who are dating and start to see red flags of a person who is overlapping. So I added that too, of how to catch it.
I had a kid. He's been out of a relationship
you have a couple,
for 3. This young man. I had a guy at a gig last night call me son. And, I'm like, you graduated in 84, son. Okay, you're old enough to be my fucking brother, not my dad. Okay, let's just
simmer down. Did it feel disrespectful?
Right. I was not happy. He called me son. I was like, just because I have a young face don't make me young.
Old
sir.
enough to whoop your ass.
Oh, man. And it was in the bathroom, too. Don't talk to me when you're at a urinal, bud.
When they're all whipped out and you're calling me
Eyes
son.
on your piece, son. Back off.
That would be an extra level. Anyway.
So I had a young man, and he just got out of a relationship that he's been in. He has a 2-year-old son. And he's been out of a relationship for 3 months, and he's already dating a girl that's got like a couple kids, and she just got out of a relationship for like 3 months. I was like,
every time.
What time?
What
this is some
doing?
chaos going
what are
on
we doing?
here.
Right.
She's got a baby.
Oh.
Like in a carrier.
Oh.
And I was like
under 6 months.
Like a year. Okay. Still. Like, what? That's some overlap. That's some deep overlap.
That might not be overlap. So by definition, and that's why I have other things that are unhealthy alternatives to overlapping. So overlapping is like, I have yet to end my relationship, and it might be tapering off. I might be breadcrumbing them. I might be already engaged in something else.
So listen to this.
So they might have both
might have both been
ended,
done.
and maybe they're
Yes,
rebounding.
100%.
That's an unhealthy alternative.
So here's what's funny. I'm so proud of him, honestly, because he's dating this new girl. Her dude comes to pick up the baby at his house, which is crazy to me, okay? She went out there and he had a girl in his truck, okay? And she got all pissed and was like, brought the baby back in and was like, no, you didn't tell me you were bringing her, blah, 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 blah. And after it calmed down and he left, he said, as a young man, he says, I'm going to tell you, I think that was extremely wrong.
For him
her
to bring her?
No,
or
for
her
her
to not give it up?
For her not to give
the baby.
He goes, he came over here to get his daughter and have that baby, and it shouldn't matter. He goes, he's picking his daughter up at a new guy's house. Are you, so what? And you could tell she was like, and he goes, well, why are you feeling this way?
Right. What's happening?
He goes, I'm telling you right now, that was wrong.
Right.
And I was like,
oh, so let me clarify, his new girlfriend wouldn't give up her children to her ex.
Yeah. The baby. Because he had a girl in the truck.
Oh.
I would have looked at her and been like, are you, I'm at your,
give that baby.
I'm at your new dude's house.
Right.
Well, you should have told, I don't need to tell you who's in my car.
It doesn't matter.
Right. None of your business.
None of your business.
Right.
I came to get my kids from wherever you told me to.
But how good of that young man to just say it?
Absolutely. To her.
Yeah.
To be
And
like,
he said it in a kind way. He said it in a nice way, in a kind way. He goes, it's not okay. He goes, I've had my kid held above my head.
Right.
That's not okay.
Right.
Because most guys don't even come and pick up their kids, or girls don't pick up their kids.
Let alone from, oh my gosh.
Right.
From some new guys.
Could you imagine?
Here's a pin. Just drop a pin and be like, come get,
Just drop them off at the post office.
Right. I'll meet you somewhere.
I see some couples, because I stop at the same gas station all the time. I always see these couples doing
Passing off.
Yeah, the book bags. I was like, what are you guys doing?
So we have the definition, reasons for it, alternative verbiage.
And don't get this confused with overslapping, okay? Because it's a different kind of person. They get a little excited.
Right. And then how to help. What to do instead of overlapping. Because it can be hard.
Because it's on you. It really is
There's
on you.
literally no
one else will blame.
Nobody else held responsible.
This is all you, boo.
Right?
This is all you. All right, so definition overlapping. Let's go over it again.
Engaging in a new relationship, or entertaining, I would even say, a new relationship before you have actually ended it.
Justin wants us to repeat it again for the people in the back.
Entertaining a new romantic interest.
In any way.
In any way. And if you want more definitions, go back to the other videos, because we've talked about infidelity. A physical relationship, an emotional relationship. If you're getting your needs met by somebody else.
Before you're done with the other person.
Before you've tied up those loose ends, that is overlapping.
Yes. Uh-oh. You can wait. So Justin and Mike are talking about if you're getting a lap dance. So that's a little different. I know what you guys are alluding to. Totally different. That's business. And you don't really have a relationship. Oh, overlap dancing.
Overlapping.
Okay.
Dancing.
Which could be overslapping. Overclapping of the booties.
Oh, no.
All right. So overlapping.
All right. So overlapping. So there's lots of reasons why people do it. And I am assuming you hear a lot of clients who accidentally tell you that they're overlapping.
It's
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. In my personal life, I have not always been. I have overlapped before.
How could you not?
Right. I still have friends and family who tend to like tell me about a story, and I just give them that look, and then they realize that they told the therapist sister, right? That like knows that you're not being very healthy.
You know who you're talking to?
Right.
So I had a boy the other day talking about his girl. They got into a fight. I said, "What's the last thing you guys got in an argument about?"
Sure.
He goes, "My phone, my Snapchat." And I was like, "Well, does she not want you to have Snapchat?" She goes, "She don't like who I talk to on there." I go, "Then get rid of it." And he looked at me and he goes, "I keep snap streaks with people." I go, "That's not a real fucking thing. Is that girl, would she come let your dog out?" I mean, honestly, if your mama needed something, would she run it over to her?
Is she a 3 a.m. type of friend?
Well, I'm saying, like, what is it?
Right.
And he looked at me and I said,
Then quit
Listen.
it.
I've been on Snapchat. I've been off Snapchat. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm in a serious relationship, it's gone. Because there's no reason for it, honestly. It's just more of just killing time. And like, I
Yeah,
see my
right.
daughter's stuff on there a lot. So that's where it
Sure.
sucks me back in. But I will say this. I could see where people, especially him, you know what I mean? Because he's young and they're just really engaging in a lot of bad stuff. But I was like, dude, is she your real girl or not your real girl? And he looked at me and I said,
oh, you're just asking all the questions.
well, I was like, what?
He's like, I don't
Then
know.
set her free.
Yes. If you're not interested in prioritizing her over.
I said, if you can't do
And-
that simple of a thing, do you think you're going to do
Quit
some
it,
major
right.
shit for her? And that's your girl?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I was just being honest. Like,
Yeah.
and he just looked at me. I was like, because you're doing shit on there. I go, how uncomfortable would you be if she was in your phone? Yeah, he made that face.
That's what I ask people all the time.
Right.
Oh, are you engaging in conversations that they could be
Now listen,
looped into?
now there are conversations you're going to have with your best friend that, you know, you're venting towards. That's different. But are you talking to people that you could possibly, or there's a chance that you would be romantically engaged with them?
Sure. Well, there's a big
That's-
difference. If
yes.
Andrew read my conversation with Gina, he might get his feelings hurt because she's my person that I vent to.
But if
right?
he read the conversation with you and I, he's not going to be.
No,
You know what I mean?
don't care.
And we
Right.
share
Well,
some
and-
stuff too. But in the same
Absolutely.
breath, it's not inappropriate.
No. And you might get your feelings hurt just because you read the uncut
Shit.
version.
You
Not
don't get your feelings hurt just by talking to us in person.
Right. You know what I'm upset about. They just got the unfiltered version and you got the filtered version because I love you and I don't
They
want to
got-
hurt your feelings.
They got the thought out version.
Right. They got the vented version. You got the filtered version.
So that overlap there, I was like, dude, these aren't real people. And here's the thing too. I do think, because some people just chalk it up like you're a shitty person. I honestly also believe that if you're a people pleaser,
Yeah.
you cannot have social media unbridled like that. It's just because you will feel bad about not answering their message.
Sure.
Okay.
Setting boundaries is hard.
I go, listen, I stopped answering people and I don't care. I'm not being mean. Like if you message
Yeah,
me, like
sure,
if somebody that goes, hey, Thomas, I'm going through some stuff. I got a question or blah, blah, blah. I'd be like,
Right.
what's up?
Absolutely.
But if you're just throwing rocks in my window, and I've learned that, you know, like that is not okay. But I used to be a people pleaser. I figured it out on the show. You were talking to one of our guests and in real time, I was like, holy shit, that's what I'm doing. Because it wasn't important for me to really talk to them, but it just felt like if I didn't answer their message, even as mundane as it was, it was me being disrespectful to
Or
them. It was me.
rude or
Right.
something,
And
yeah,
now I'm like this.
dismissive, yeah.
This isn't real.
Because what do they matter?
They probably don't know my first name.
No.
I mean, honestly.
Right. Yeah. Right.
My rule is if we've never broken bread together, sorry.
I don't owe you anything.
It's-
Right. I don't have any
yeah.
obligation to you.
So when I asked him about that, you could just tell he was like, oh, shit.
Mhm.
And I was
right.
like,
You're
dude,
messing around. and
oh,
you're
how would
gonna-
you feel? Would you
You're
be
either
okay
gonna
with it?
screw it up, but if you're gonna screw it up, just let her go now.
Set her
And
free and go be free.
So this comes up a lot in overlappers, and one of the reasons is a fear of commitment. Right? It's starting to get more serious, and they don't want it to get more serious, so they start entertaining something else that's more casual.
Do you think people really struggle because they think that I don't want to settle? Might be something better out there.
Oh, all the time. The grass is greener mentality.
That's
All the
dangerous
time.
too. I mean, I understand.
All the time.
Me and Mike were talking before you got here, and he was talking about dating. He read something because Mike's older, and he was looking at older dating. Like he's trying to understand
Sure,
it.
right, yeah.
And he said, the one person wrote, you need to set your standards lower. And like, you should not. And he's like, why in the fuck would I go, dude, you're fine. Like, dude, you're debt free. You own everything. You literally own everything. You have money to live the rest of your life comfortably, to travel and all that.
Right.
This is when you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to
I'll
invite
just bottom
the
of barrel.
shittiest person into my life when I have the
Anybody on
most
the-
to lose. When I literally have the most to lose,
No,
that's when I'm going to do it.
Mike, hold your standards.
Oh shit. But he was realistic. He goes, well, if I'm not happy, I'm not going to make them happy, and then they're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to get at bigmike.com / closet lover.
Closet lover. No, so there's definitely some of the reasons, and I guess
Two.
other unhealthy alternatives are ghosting. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Rebounding.
Yeah.
Talked about that a lot. So
Unless you're
that's
Dennis
more
Rodman.
like what you were saying is they obviously have ended or had a difficult conversation, but now they're in a new relationship really soon.
And I don't, if you've ended it, you've ended it. Because I've
Yeah.
had people, there was a girl that got mad. Did I talk about this last week? That her friends embarrassed her by reaching out to the new girl.
No, I
Oh,
don't remember
God.
hearing that story. That sounds awful. Tell me more.
So she dated this guy through high school sweethearts. They broke up. Well, they've been broke up. Well, one of her friends decided to creep and figured out that he's dating someone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she took it on herself to follow this girl's social media and write her a letter. And she's like, they've only been broke up for a month. You're a piece of shit. I go, I don't care if I hung up the phone with you. I'm broke up with you.
Right. If I said, I don't want to do this anymore,
we're done.
Click.
Our contract's over.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
What, how weird is that with overlapping? So you're not like, that's a weird, like
Yeah.
we're broke up.
Right. Why are you holding on?
Right. And
Which
she was so embarrassed.
It could be hurtful for you to move on. If we have a conversation and you end it and then you move on, I would second guess you. I would be curious if you were
Why?
overlapping.
I understand, but you're
Yeah.
curious anyways. If you broke up, there's many reasons. You don't need more.
I don't need any
Not
of
to
it.
be a
I don't
dick.
give a shit.
Get on with
I
it.
don't care.
And mind your business. She was upset
I believe it.
because she was like, you made me look like a fool.
Yeah. Oh,
We were
no, I'd
sticking
be
up for her.
mad.
She goes, I didn't
would
need to be
mad.
stuck up for her.
No, he
She goes,
doesn't owe me anything.
And she goes, am I allowed to date? You encourage me to date. Because I asked her,
every weekend.
I go, do they encourage you? They go, yeah. I go, what fucking parallel universe is this? All right. So that's not overlapping. You're broke up.
No. So yeah. So we have ghosting, rebounding, benching.
Ooh, let's hear about that.
Benching is when you, like you said, when you are just like rotating pots, right? Where you don't really want to break up with this person in case there's nothing else better out there. So you kind of bench them just in case and distance yourself, but keep
Let's
them
try
on
a
the back
couple
with,
new
like, right, yeah,
players.
let me just see if this works out better. Or you bring somebody else into the equation, but you kind of breadcrumb them in case this starts to go bad.
I've just
Benching
been
is
so
definitely a
busy.
version of overlap, but there's like priority differences,
Yeah.
right? So those are other things to keep in mind. We're kind of going to talk about all of them. But yeah, so reasons for overlapping. Fear of commitment. We talked about that,
Yeah.
right? Where things are starting to get serious. She's hinting at like a ring or at moving in together. My lease is ending in 2 months.
Yeah, we spend every day together.
Are we going to move in together or no?
Yeah.
Right. So fear of commitment. Sometimes people will back out and start engaging with something new to keep it light. Fear of loneliness or boredom.
I honestly think that most of this is like out of boredom.
You think?
Simulation.
Well, the next one is love or the spark addiction. It's simmering too much.
Dude, you know how many people will send all this beautiful, oh my God, you're so fucking amazing, blah, blah, blah. You've never had lunch with me. Like you've never, like how in the fuck could you say something about me you don't know?
I know. It happens all the time on my caseload. People are like, love bombing though is real.
So my favorite thing is
Head over heels.
you can't
don't even
love
know
or
me.
hate somebody unless you truly know them.
Right. And that's what they often,
Anyone.
a lot of my people on my caseload are like, you don't know me. Stop telling me that you love me. I actually respect you less.
Ew.
If you start to tell me that you love me and you don't even know, like you've never spent the night at my house. You've never met my parents. You've never seen what I sleep in. You know, like you don't know anything about me. You know the version of me that I'm showing you.
Right. Listen, that young man with the kids and all that stuff, we were talking and I pulled the old Thomas question.
Mhm.
What's her middle name?
You didn't know.
Fuck. No. I said you could possibly be shot by her kid's dad.
Yes.
Okay. He's
The
showing up at
reality.
your house, not
Uh-huh.
like at first it was not good.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
For a woman, you don't know her middle name? And he looked at me and he was like, oh, I go, tighten it up. Come on. You're bringing a woman around your kids, you don't know her middle name?
For what?
Get the fuck out of here.
She doesn't need to meet your kids for you to hook up.
What the? The look on his face was like, oh, don't.
Oh, he sounds like a cute little kid.
He's
Yeah,
actually a
right.
he loves his mama, he loves his grandma.
Yeah.
Like
He's
you
just
just
caught
tell.
up.
Yes.
He's caught up.
Yes. That is.
Hmm.
So that's it.
Okay. So the lover spark addiction is another one. That's kind of that grass is always greener, right? Of
You're gonna take the attention
there has
from
to
anyone.
be something.
Yeah, until they get to know you.
Right. And then it fades also.
Everybody's
Because there's
obsessed with that.
stages
Not
of a
everyone.
relationship.
Being obsessed with the spark that it needs. We've lost our spark. Yeah.
Every couple on my caseload, I just want the spark back.
All right, get a
And I have
side piece.
I have to tell them, I'm like, that's not a thing.
What do they say?
That they're sad. It just bursts
Do they
their
believe
bubbles.
you?
Yeah.
Because some people are like, no, she's just crazy.
Yeah. No, because I articulate it better than that. I lead with, for dramatic effect, that that's not a thing. And then they're sad. And then I give
Right.
them a beat. And then I'm like, but we can get to the other side of this awkward stage where you have deeper appreciation for your partner. And you can get some of that butterfly-ish type of fit. Like, if you really are in love with your partner, it doesn't have to be dipped in glitter.
I'm going to say
It can be
this.
much deeper than that.
The deepest feelings I've ever felt was someone who truly accepted me for me. Not
what you
the
could
not the
be.
craziness.
Mhm.
Not the like, oh my God, you're so amazing. Oh my God, I'm gonna do this and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do.
Mhm.
No. Sitting next to each other in my Bronco
Comfortable.
with somebody who has me in their best interest, but truly is willing to sit and work through me.
Mhm.
And I'm willing to work through them in a polite, healthy,
Right. Compassionate way.
I can finally speak freely.
Mhm.
I've never been able to do that.
Yeah, that's new for me too. Speaking freely, being weird,
Ever.
make it like just.
Ever.
No, Andrew laughs at me all of the time. And it just, I would say, we're 5 years in, and I would say in the last like month, I have found myself, I note it as being weirder, right? Because like I'm
Yeah.
just in the kitchen making noise or singing or whatever, and he just walks by and giggles.
Right.
And I've started realizing like, oh, I have no filter left. I'm never like
Yeah.
putting on.
I mean, I'm not pooping with the door open.
No. No,
That's
I'm
not
not.
happening.
Still not farting.
Right.
But
that to me is the
singing
spark. That's better than any
singing in the
spark.
shower and not.
The spark's fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
But like, it's
Right, but
it's
his
new guitar versus
appreciation,
that
yeah.
guitar you grab and just feels like home,
Right.
and you know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got some bumps and some scratches, but man, it stays in tune.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to get back in tune.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. The next one is guilt.
Whoa, what's up with that?
So it's the opposite of what I thought it would be. But the reason people overlap is because the reason that they want to leave isn't good enough. It's just because they're not happy. It's just because there is no spark, right? Like they beat themselves up for wanting to leave. But if they find a person who's a better fit,
They'll
that
make
like
that move.
justifies.
Yeah.
Of like,
Nobody
I'm
wants
not
a new
crazy.
car.
Right.
Until if their car is running decent.
Right.
It has to be very inspiring.
Yes. Right. So they kind of start to waver that they're like, am I crazy? Is this just what it is? And then they find somebody and they entertain it, and then they see, and then they kind of use that as justification of like, I knew something was missing.
Do you think most overlaps come from somebody sharing what's wrong with their relationship?
Oh, yes. If you're not happy, stop telling people you're not happy. Only makes things worse.
That's like,
Absolutely.
is that the biggest green light in the world? I had lunch today and we were talking about that. And my friend was talking about this girl that was sharing to him about how unhappy she was. And we told him like,
she wants to sleep with you. That's what that is. If she's complaining about her partner
is that
to
fact?
you, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Jeez.
could be ballsy enough to say, yeah, she wants to sleep with you.
She wants to entertain
The
your
least side of that spectrum is she's looking for something from you.
right. Because
No, don't do that. Stop.
and if not, she would say I'm super happy because
Oh, I would lie to people if I wasn't super happy and tell them I'm super happy
weren't
just
interested.
because I just didn't. Right.
because they'll slide in your DMs. or they-
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right. No, my husband's the greatest thing in the world. And then
Yeah.
I would go home and be miserable. But at least I set a boundary so
Yeah.
that I can figure out my own stuff and my
didn't
own
open a
time.
window.
And no,
Yeah.
all my windows and doors are locked, closed and locked. I will take care of myself and I will figure it out.
Kelly's house looks like a Jehovah's Witness hall. There's no
all of the
windows.
blinds
There's
are
two
shut.
doors.
Right.
And they don't have windows.
a pillow shoved in my chimney. Nobody's coming.
It's a carbon monoxide
Never
at
know.
max.
Inability to be alone, codependency.
I mean, let's be honest. That's probably, what did you say in the graph? 70%?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, 70 is a lot. I would say 50%.
Okay.
50% is
Yeah,
either
the boredom.
scared to be alone.
I'd say the boredom's sitting about 30%.
I was going to say 50% loneliness or codependency. They kind of.
And if you combine the two, which is probably the most case, is that fair? You're bored
Yes.
and you can't be alone?
Right. Well, and the last one's low self-esteem.
Oh, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have low self-esteem?
Well, they find, and this is specific because they find their confidence in others appeal to them.
Yeah, they're trying
Right.
to touch you where you pee.
Right. They find security in that. They put a lot of their self-worth in the opinions of others.
Yeah.
So if you're in a relationship, and here's, I guess, the holy grail, right? You're in a relationship, starts to get kind of roommatey. They're not all over you anymore. This guy or this girl is sliding into your DM, showing you a lot of entertainment. You're already not happy.
Right. Allegedly.
Allegedly, you were happy yesterday, but now that you have this
Now that you
message,
have
right?
a notification on your phone.
Now we're separated. Like,
we're going through some stuff.
we're legally separated. Well, not legally because that costs money.
Oof.
We don't have
disconnected.
We don't have a lawyer yet.
Jesus.
But there's all sorts of different ways that people overlap or reasons that they overlap. The bottom line is I think all could admit that it's not healthy.
No.
Period.
No, and sometimes it just happens. There is times where
Sure.
your relationship is shit.
Sure.
You can't easily get out.
No.
It's not going to be easy. And most people can't do hard things. Let's just be honest.
No.
Most humans
right,
cannot do
yeah.
hard things. About 97% of people cannot do hard things.
Especially when you're relying on communication skills and emotional intelligence.
Or where you live, or where your children are, or where your dogs
Mhm.
are, or your lease, or
Mhm.
just everything about that.
Right. Well, and a lot of people overlap, I'm going to say on accident, but there is that situation, right?
No.
Where they were just a friend. It was something casual.
They meet the love
I
of their
was
life.
I was really trying to handle my
Yes.
business, but damn it, I like them. This feels good. It's
And it
more
works.
natural. Yeah. And that's what the websites that I was trying to collect information from, a lot of people were commenting and asking but can it ever work out?
100%.
Which just made me sad because I'm like, well, that's because you're all either overlapping or engaged with an overlapper. And you know that that's not the best. But will it sometimes work out? Sure.
Clock's right twice a day.
Absolutely. Right.
But no, it does. We've seen it. I've seen it with my
I've
clients.
Absolutely seen it.
You know what I mean? They're like, I met somebody that I didn't think, and they just hit me and they're happy.
Right.
But you have to.
There's a
You're
better
allowed to
way
break up
to
with
handle
people.
it.
Can we just tell everybody?
Yes.
You're allowed to break up with people.
Leave.
You're allowed to break up.
If you're meeting somebody else and engaging or entertaining them, you're going to leave anyway. So just pull the plug.
You're allowed to break up.
Pull
You'd
the
want
plug.
your kid to break up.
Absolutely.
If your kid wasn't happy, you'd go
No.
break up with them.
Absolutely.
If your
Or
best
guess what?
friend-
If your husband starts overlapping with somebody else, would you rather him tell you?
Well, okay, ready? It's not that he did it, it's how he did it. It's not that she did it, it's how she did it.
All the time. All
You're
the time.
lying.
I know it's not a real situation, it's not ideal, but I have people on my caseload right now who are overlapping or have lately. Every single time they're like, so I met this guy and I know it's not ideal, but it just it is what it is. And I always say I don't care at all that you're seeing somebody and what you have going on. Because that's the right way.
Well-
The right way is to have a difficult conversation,
When
ideally with both people.
when we were first talking about overlapping, when I brought that to you today,
Mm-hmm.
this actually wasn't even what I was referring to.
Really?
No.
Did you read the website?
No.
Oh,
No. I was just looking for something to
Yeah,
give you some
sure, right, yeah.
references.
that's
But
a doozy. Haven't thought of
Mine was more of what you do while you're single.
that. Mm.
All the things you do when you're single. And you justify because you're single. And you have a lot
So you
of
don't
loose ends.
Oh, anybody, anything.
So
Yeah.
it literally was what happens with those
Mm.
those wild little things you have like this.
Mhm.
All these little single relationships
brought that up
have.
last time.
Yes. That's more what I was actually referring to.
Oh.
This is actually more when you're in a relationship
Yes,
But
when you're trying to end a relationship.
But to me, it's not any different either. If you're engaging with a ton of people and you're like, well, I'm single.
Sure.
Okay. Well, if you're not single anymore, then why are you engaging with these people still? Why are they still in your inbox? Why are they still snapping you?
Because they're all up in the air a little bit.
Oh, so it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I explained it the other day that it's like having a good credit score. So if you have a good credit score, you keep a good credit score. If you decide you don't want to rent anymore and you want to buy, you can get it.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's like a heart credit score. So the better your heart credit score is, the better you have a chance of succeeding because you're leaving less things
Open.
to throw,
right.
Rocks into your motor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's.
No, I like that analogy.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right.
So what you do while you're single, we justify really bad behavior.
Yeah.
But that overlap into your new healthy relationship can be detrimental. And you could be sitting there going, I haven't talked to that girl. I haven't done anything. But it's going to make your new person feel some sort of way.
Yeah. Yeah. We can talk about that next time for sure.
Yeah, but that's the kind of actually part of the overlapping I was talking about too. Because like that, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
So that's hard for a lot of people. And that's people pleaser. So going back through those.
Yeah. The reasons for it.
Reasons for, so that people can go back.
Reasons for overlapping. Fear of commitment, fear of loneliness or boredom, right? With that like roommate stage that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
An addiction to love or the spark is another reason why people tend to outsource their attention.
Outsource.
Just bringing
subcontract out their needs.
Right. Guilt of having a bad reason for wanting to leave in the first place, but then justifying it as like, see, this person is better fit. I knew you weren't the right person. So they needed like that justification. Inability to be alone or codependency type behavior. And then the last one is low self-esteem or needing another for their confidence, security, or self-worth.
These are all very dangerous things. These are all kind of shitty things in a non-overlapping relationship.
I know.
These are shitty things at a job.
These are things that people come to me for in individual therapy. Plug here. But other ways that this type of person or a person with these type of issues also tends to engage in ghosting, where they can't just set a firm boundary and say, I'm not interested.
It's hard for people to do that.
It's very hard to break up with people to do that. I know. It's
some people are really good at it. Most people are not.
So bizarre. I help so many people like construct text messages that are like bullet points for a phone call that I'm like, these are the things. This is where we are. This is how we got here. This is what I want. Right. Like that's assertive communication. I'm not interested because of XYZ. I don't want to see you anymore.
How do people feel about breakups through text?
Oh, I feel like we live in a new world now where like
he did it through text.
I hear that less and less now.
Good.
Yeah. Less and less because it is what it is. And it gives the person the opportunity to say what they want to say without the rebuttal, which is, I understand, kind of shitty, but that's why they did it that way. Because they don't want to hear your side of.
Yeah. I had a client the other day say their person didn't talk to them when they were in person and they left their house and sent this whole
immediately
text.
Started texting.
And I was like, what? And I go, he goes, it really upset me. I go, man, she could do it safely.
Yeah.
To me,
they had things. I like to text.
I don't.
No,
I'd rather just be quiet. You know,
I like the opportunity to write things out and edit it and read it. And so often I will write a text and not send it, but at least get my thoughts in a row, right?
It's a safer way to communicate. Okay. It's like talking to somebody behind glass.
Yes.
It is.
This is what I'm thinking, and I want you to read the whole thing before you respond.
Well, not just that. Like, also, what kind of environment do you give them to speak freely? Because, like, honestly, like I said, until now, I've never felt like I've been able to express myself freely without being like, oh, so I'm just a horrible girlfriend. Oh, I'm just the worst. I'm sorry, I'm the worst. Okay.
right.
So
if they don't have that space to feel safe,
and most humans don't.
no.
Is that fair?
Yeah, no, I would agree. Now is the first time that I've really embraced that and
Right.
let my guard down.
Right.
And now I would feel comfortable it would still cause me anxiety, but I'd be much more inclined
Okay.
to have a conversation face to face.
So when people do text you that stuff, it's like, you can't tell me this in person.
It's a memo.
Like you're not even letting me text you it
Right.
without being
Could
shitty.
you see how maybe I thought this wouldn't go well?
Right. I'm
Right,
sure
yeah.
it's gonna. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wonderful.
it'll sting, right.
Especially I can imagine being a girl with a guy, or vice versa. I mean,
Sure.
not to be a jerk. I'm not a small guy,
Right.
but girls
Right.
scare me when they're mad.
Right.
Because you
right,
just
yeah.
go, what can what
Things
do I do?
elevate quickly. Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
So go back to fair fighting rules if you want to know how to go through
know.
that.
So for people on the other end, because I see this a lot too, of like, I met this new guy and he says blah, blah, blah. Red flags to look out for somebody who might be overlapping, saying that their marriage is dead, right? My marriage is dead. My boyfriend, there's no spark anymore. We haven't had sex in 6 months. I don't know why you're sharing that with
You know why.
literally anyone. Right.
You know why.
I know. But those are red flags. If you
Right.
have somebody who you're kind of entertaining and they're saying that we're separated, I would ask for like legal documentation. Like, are you you'd be shocked, maybe not, how many people are like, oh yeah, we still live together, but we're separated and my room's down in the basement. Like, come on.
Listen.
Come on, guys.
Listen. I've had people tell me, they're like, they're not together, but they still live together because of the kids. I go, listen.
That's fine. Nesting.
Then just
is
tell
what it's
him.
called. Right.
Just tell him. Or it's usually him.
Mm-hmm.
Not being a jerk. It's usually
Fair.
him. Tell him, when you can spend the night at my house or I can spend the night at your house
Yeah.
without any issue,
Call
Hit
me up.
You
Right.
seem nice.
Yeah, sure.
You
I'm
seem
very
dope.
interested. Right.
But this is
little
not
messy.
okay. Look,
Right.
I can spend the night. They can spend the night. There's no issue. Like,
Nope.
I'm not worried about somebody blowing down on my house. I'm not worried about somebody blowing down at their house.
Right.
I don't care. If I can't
No.
freely,
Get up in the middle of the night and go pee and come back in because I have to
or just drive to their
right,
house.
Yeah, I know. Right. So if they're saying they're separated, saying the relationship's dead, if they call their former partner toxic, but we're on a break, or these are all.
There
I
are
feel
weird
like-
things where I've known people that, like, if I leave my house, I lose my house
Mm.
because it's abandonment. And there are some things,
Sure.
but go, hey,
Right. Yeah.
we can talk a little bit, but guess what? There's gonna be a
Oh my
reasonable
God,
time
but,
limit with this.
Come on, guys. I mean, the bottom line is I can't leave my house because she's gonna say that I abandoned the house. That means you're actively getting divorced.
Yes, that's real.
You got 3 or 4 months and then you're going to court.
Or you're
that
seeing
means
it.
you
You're
are
seeing all
in,
this. Yes,
right. You
you're
are
seeing
in
all this.
it. Chances are they shouldn't be dating anyway. And I know that's a bold statement.
Yeah, there's some.
But-
you're getting into a mess.
You're getting into a mess.
No, if they've been together
that.
forever. Like,
Sure,
if you're an
they have.
older couple and they've been together forever.
Yeah.
And it's been like, dude, this has been dead for a long time. We don't even talk. We don't do anything together.
That's a buzzword. I would argue. I hear what you're saying, and I've seen that play out where everybody is being honest. But if you guys are still living together and the relationship is dead and blah blah blah,
It's not really dead.
what? It's not, or else you'd be divorced.
Well, it's not.
Something is unfinished. Anything that's unfinished by definition
It's overlapping.
is overlapping.
There you
Tie
go.
up your loose ends.
And then you're allowed
And
to
then
say, hey,
get
you
out.
seem dope.
Yeah, right, sure.
You seem cool.
Sure.
I
But
like
why are
you.
you looking at it? Looking for it. These people are on dating apps looking for
Oh,
it.
shit.
Looking for it. There's a difference between seeing somebody out in real life,
Right.
hitting it off and being like, ooh, you do seem cool. I have a lot going on. I don't know how to navigate that. That's messy, but
Yeah.
unintentional. Versus people being on dating sites prowling
That's different.
while they're living in their girlfriend's basement.
Sorry.
Stop it.
That's a little different.
Right.
That's a lot different. I didn't think about that aspect of it.
So how to help, and then we can kind of wrap up. But
Yeah.
if you are curious about overlapping, or if you're second guessing after this episode, ooh, I think I might be overlapping. You are.
You are.
You are overlapping. If you're second guessing if you're overlapping or not, you are.
100%.
10 times
Looks
out
like
of
an
10.
overlapper, smells like an overlapper.
It's either black or white. So if you're not black or white and you're gray, you're overlapping. That's it.
Literally, that's what that is.
Absolutely. So how to help to prevent overlapping is taking a time commitment. And I have talked to clients about this, which is always hard because it seems rigid. But you have to tie up loose ends. You take 3 months, 30 days, 3 hours. I don't care. And that's what you said. Like, if it's done, it's done. We can get into rebounding, maybe another episode. But as
And
long as you
rebounding-
tie
ready?
it up.
We
Go
love
ahead.
calling it rebounding.
Mhm.
But guess what? You're telling me you don't have any more half kind of okay relationships after that rebound?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so why
Yeah,
don't we
sure,
call
right.
those rebounds? How many rebounds you get?
Oh.
Okay, well, what I'm saying
Right,
is,
yeah. But is a rebound by definition just the next one?
do you think people say you're using you as a rebound? And it's like, well, are they
Or I'm just the
angry?
next one.
You
the
are
thing. It's
just the next one.
next one.
Listen, that's how life is.
Right.
You
Always.
the next one.
You're just the next
Everyone's the next one. What do you fucking mean?
Right.
You weren't betrothed at birth?
You're
The
just
fuck are you
next
talking
one.
about? You are the fucking next one.
Right.
It's not special.
No.
It's
when
only
there's always
special.
the next one.
It's only special when you have trust and truly, and I don't mean trust like, oh, I can trust her. Not going to. No. Trust that you can express yourself without being abused,
Mhm.
without being, all the fancy words you guys like to, throw out. I don't even want to say them because I'm
Right.
so sick of hearing them. So, like that, you are
Yeah.
the next one. Listen,
You're always just
my stepmom just passed away 8 weeks ago.
Mm.
My dad is 79 years old. Do you think he was thinking about the next one? There could possibly be.
I hope.
I'm not
I
saying-
hope. I mean, for his sake.
I
but
don't know.
sure,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know for her sake. I don't know.
Yeah,
We're
right.
still in.
I want everybody to just be happy all of the
Yes.
time.
But what I'm saying is, like,
Happy
do
and
you think
healthy.
he was like, he honored her? He took
Yeah.
care of her. There's the next one. So stop thinking
Whoever it
like,
would be the next
oh,
one.
you're just the next
Yeah.
one. Yeah, no shit.
Right.
What do you
So
want me
it's
to do?
Literally everybody.
Break
Right.
up at 22 and just die? Like, nope, done. You're done. Old
Can't
spinster.
rebound.
Old spinster. Just got a bunch of cats.
No.
Life's
Well,
good.
that's the thing. No matter when it is, a lot of people like to label the next one as the rebound, whether it's 6 hours later, 6 weeks later, 6 years later.
They're always the next one.
Oh, they're the rebound. No, they're not. It's been 6 months.
It doesn't matter.
They must have been really, well, there's the flip side. They must have been really sad. I don't know if they're ready. So,
Maybe they
taking a time commitment is helpful. Set a timeline for yourself.
Reasonable.
Commit to healing and finding yourself. And I want to use the word rebound, but that obviously doesn't feel right. But like, engage in your hobbies, engage in
Yeah.
your work.
Because it's all going to go out the window when you start dating someone.
Because everybody's so quick to just pitch it anyway.
Right?
And sometimes that's the reason that they start overlapping in the first place is because they're bored and
You
they
know
lost
what?
themselves.
I just have a great idea for people that are recently single.
Hmm.
Just go volunteer. Do what other people need you to do because that's what you're going to do as soon as you start dating someone. Just be in that
Just get
rhythm.
used to it,
You know,
right. Mm-hmm.
life of service. Just do that because don't live for yourself. Because that's what
'Cause you
you're going to
won't,
do when
right,
you go
yeah.
to a relationship is just eat shit. You know, you don't get to do what you want to do.
Right.
But that spark is being able to be you, being able
Yes.
to do the
And
things you
how
want
do
to
you
do.
know how you're going to, who you need to compliment you or enhance you or yin and yang, right? Like, unless you figure out who you are now.
Do you think because most people started dating before they were fully functioned as an adult
Mm,
and they never were really given a choice to be themselves because their parents never allowed them to be,
yes.
that they just carried on that kind of
Yes.
behavior as a dating adult and it's never been broken?
Correct.
And you
that's
have
why.
little blips of beautiful, right?
Mhm.
Little blips of good.
That's why the divorce rate is super high for people in their 20s or early 30s, is because they've never been themselves. They have no idea who they are. They've developed further. Their
They've-
partner has developed further. And now they're looking at their partner going,
They've never been able to express themselves freely because no one would ever listen
no,
to them.
right. When 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, they felt very different than they do now. Now they're independent thinkers, or more so because they're adults,
They're getting there.
right?
They have
So they're
enough
like, oh,
independence financially
right.
or
I don't know that I like
emotionally.
this, right?
They grow a little hair on their chin. They can get after it a little bit, right?
They can verbalize it.
Yeah.
And they probably have people in their DMs who think that they're fantastic. The last one is leaning on your own support system. A lot of people are afraid to be alone, right? They're afraid of commitment. They're feeling insecure. You don't need a new partner to make you feel better about yourself.
That's
I hope
probably
you
a
have
slippery
siblings,
slope, right?
friends, family. Have them fill your void.
If you only feel good when you're with someone, are you really a whole person? Should you be engaging in dating?
So listen, I had this conversation with a couple clients over the last couple months. And because of podcasts like this or TV shows or, insert media platform, they're like, I don't know if I'm a whole happy person who wants a partner or if I need a partner because I'm not a whole healthy person. And they're like spinning. And I'm like, listen.
That's a real question.
Listen, you know how you could figure that out? Run the tape. Like there is no magical answer that I have as a clinician to say, well, you are a healthy person or you're not. I don't know either. It's trial and error. Some of this you just gotta
I'm healthy
live your
most
life.
of the time.
Right.
And then there's times I'm really unhealthy.
Can you be a happy, healthy person without other people? Like some people are just extroverted and people.
Ready?
I would not be super happy or healthy if I had nobody in my life.
Do you want to share your life or share your burden?
I know.
There's a good question, right? That'll let you know real quick. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do this by myself. Well, that's sharing your burden.
Absolutely.
That's sharing your burden.
Right. Me and I would like somebody to travel with.
Like, I love going
That's
hiking.
Sharing your life.
Sure is cool to do it holding somebody's hand.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's sharing your life.
That means you just want to share your experience. That feels a lot better than
I need help.
When I lay in bed at night, I'm miserable and nobody wants to talk to me.
There's too many people that want to talk to you. Just not the people you probably want to talk to you.
Or the people who you should talk to.
Yeah.
You have a whole inbox full of people who are going to co-sign your bullshit.
Yeah. Well, they don't really care.
No, they just want you to come over and spend the night at their
Most people
baby
don't even
mama's
want
house.
That,
just come through the back door and come down to the basement.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? I have to come to your house.
All the time.
If you always have to come to my house, we got a problem.
Listen, I started telling the women on my caseload that they couldn't tell me anymore. They couldn't mention the L word. No love. You can't say that until you've seen his bathroom trash can, the inside of his refrigerator, and what he sleeps in at night.
Yeah.
If you can't answer those things, those are interpersonal, like we shared a space for 2-hour things. Because they started being like,
that goes back to the lap dance.
Right. I know that his name is this, and I know that his mom's name is this, and I know, we've been talking for 3 months, and I think I love him. And I'm like, no.
You love the thought of him. You
Have
could love
you
a lot
seen
of
the
things.
inside of his refrigerator?
You could love things about him.
Sure.
That's different.
Could you live with him? Compatibility at some point needs to come in.
Right. Are you neat? Well,
Right.
if you're not neat, I mean, like whatever you're into.
Sure. Right. If he has expired condiments, is that a deal breaker? And some of my clients are like, I mean, if it's like Dijon mustard that nobody uses all of the time and it expired, that's different than like.
Yeah, you buy mustard twice a year.
Right.
For
I'm like, right.
deviled
If he
eggs.
had liquid sitting in the bottom of his produce bin, is that a red flag? Is that a deal breaker? And some of them are like, well, how long's it been there? I'm like, right. That's why you need to see the inside of his refrigerator. Things matter. Same with men. I've asked men, have you ever heard your girlfriend on the phone with her mother? And they're like, no. And I'm like, you need to overhear that conversation.
That's a very good point.
How she talks to people.
I literally just did a flash in my head of the women I've been with and good versus evil.
Right.
Jesus.
You need to hear those things. And you don't know those things unless you spend a lot of time with somebody in a lot of different facets.
Oof.
It matters. It matters. All right.
So if you want to overlap, don't. So check us out on all the socials. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. If you're overlapping, work on it. It's a bad thing to do. You wouldn't appreciate it done to you. You wouldn't appreciate it done to you, someone you love.
No.
So you have to be conscious of that or you will fail. I'm just being honest.
I
You're
know.
probably going to fail anyways, but you're going to fail and
I
feel
know.
bad about it. And here's the other thing. people will stay with people a long time because they don't want to hurt their feelings, and but they hurt them more by dragging it on.
Absolutely.
They hurt them more by doing all this dumb shit.
Sure.
You're allowed to enjoy your life, but the more disciplined you are, the more you will enjoy your life.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that anything through discipline will actually enrich your life more than any person, anything, because that discipline. I mean, truthfully, my grandson just killed his 4th deer. He's 9 years old. I saw the video.
Such a little badass.
Right. But he was disciplined. Even when he was, after he had shot that deer, he was still so quiet in this video.
Just a case, right? Yeah.
Right. Because he's so used to being disciplined. And he's 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is that discipline that allows you to have a good relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
With your parents, with your children, with your friends and family. And then if you can do that with people that are supposed to love you, no matter what.
Right.
If you're not good at that, what makes you think you're going to find
voluntarily engage in
you're going to find a stranger
right
that isn't internally indebted to you like a family member's taught?
Right.
Okay, unhealthy. But what makes you think that that's going to work out easily?
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, if you don't have a good relationship with your own people, who are you engaging with?
No, and I feel like overlap, honestly, I like what you're saying, because it's a consequence often, like the default of not being disciplined or having the right communication skills
Right.
or setting firm boundaries, right? Like a lot of people, I would say, I don't want to put a number on it, never mind. A lot of people do this by default. This wasn't their intention.
No.
They didn't
It's
go
from
out
being
seeking.
undisciplined. I've been there.
Yeah.
You've been there.
Absolutely.
This isn't like something we've never done.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Okay. But that discipline in that
right.
is very important, that you'll understand that, like, if you can do that, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And you're okay with your own feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be easy, but this isn't easy either.
No.
Because you have way more people on your payroll.
This is hard, guys.
That's a lot more people on your payroll.
Nobody does this well.
For no good reason.
Right.
You know, you could juggle a lot of people. But here's the other thing. If you like engaging with multiple people,
there's a word for that.
Be in that kind of relationship.
Right. Yes.
But that takes discipline too, because you have to explain to people, like, look, I'm polyamorous. This is what I want to do.
And then you
so
have
which
to
one is it?
communicate still.
But I guarantee if those people found out that their mates were overlapping, they would not be happy.
No, probably not.
At all.
No, and actually that's, I guess, not always true. I think their feelings would get hurt. But do you know how many people I've had on my caseload that are like, I wish he would just cheat on me?
Because they wouldn't have to make a decision.
I wish he would just leave, or I wish he would just, I wish she would just find somebody else to take her crazy ass.
I asked
right?
my client, I go, what would you do if your husband was cheating? Because they're in a rough patch, you know? And she's like, I would be ecstatic. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Because it makes it easy. Do you know how many people just want an out? How many people I have had say, like, I wish she would cheat on me. I wish she would hit me. I wish,
God.
you know, like, I wish that it would, like,
does that go to the kink thing, or is that a different thing?
It's just, they're just looking for a final straw. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you break up over a straw, you will then have a conversation once emotions have settled. And the straw doesn't really matter. No, it's just a Tuesday. It's not a straw.
Or a miscommunication.
Yes. So you need to.
I mean, obviously hitting someone or cheating on someone is not a miscommunication.
A little bit of a bigger straw.
Kind of.
But people can still put that behind them. They can.
But if your actions are leading somebody to actually react a certain way as well, what do you expect?
Usually not unintentional.
Yeah.
They all know what it is. They just don't want to talk about it.
We're going to wrap this up. So everybody be good to each other. I will say this as a parent, teach your kids to be able to communicate with you very easily and be honest with themselves and, like, be able to speak to you freely. And I can guarantee your kids will have better relationships with their mates, because if they're given that venue to express themselves honestly and openly, they will have such more success talking to their mates, because they'll go, no, this is what we do in our home. Mm-hmm. This is how we do it.
We talk about it.
Right.
We talk about hard things.
Most of this is really rooted in not being able to communicate or finalize anything or have a voice.
Right.
So we chalk it up as people being horrible people, but honestly, it really stems back
It's all
from
learned. All
freedom
of this is learned.
of
Yeah.
being able to express yourself
Yeah.
without judgment, without being angry, like actually be able to hash it out.
Right. And advocate for yourself and for your needs. No.
But if you can't do that with your parent, what makes you think you can do it with your mate?
Right.
So when you guys are all mad at your mate or mad at yourself, realize what you're doing to your children, because you're creating the next generation of people that can't function and do good through this. So send us your thoughts. Shoot us on anything, all the social medias. You guys know how to do this shit. It's 2024. I don't have to walk you through it. Like, oh, click here. Like, you're not dumb. Listen, if you can slide
Find
into
us.
somebody's DMs, you can slide into ours. Have a great day.
Bye.